It's a case that raised so many questions. An unarmed 11-year-old boy shot by a police officer in Mississippi. A judge is now sealing the release of police body camera video that recorded the moment back in May.
And this decision comes a day after a grand jury decided not to indict Sergeant Greg Capers following a state investigation that found Capers did not engage in criminal conduct in the shooting of Aderrien Murry. Officer Capers agreed to sit down with ABC News exclusively to discuss this incident.
It was a situation that I didn't expect to be in. Just had no idea that it would turn out that way.
It was in the wee hours of May 20th in Indianola, Mississippi, when Aderrien's mother, Nicaila Murry, says her ex-boyfriend and father to one of her children knocked on her window and demanded to be let inside. 11-year-old Aderrien says he was awakened by the commotion and told by his mom to call his grandmother and 911. But according to Nicaila, when two officers arrived, they knocked on the door, then tried kicking it down before Nicaila let them in. Once inside, Nicaila says she told the officers no one was armed. She says they told everyone to come out with their hands up. That's when 11-year-old Aderrien, following the officer's commands, says he came out of his bedroom with nothing in his hands and was shot in the chest.
For those who say having a badge comes with a ton of responsibility, and they believe you acted poorly that day.
Unless they're in our shoes, you just never know what you may run into. Spur of the moment. It's a split decision that has to be made.
Have you thought about that little boy since that day?
All the time. All the time.
The aftermath of that decision was tragic. Aderrien suffered multiple injuries, including a collapsed lung and a lacerated liver. I talked to Aderrien less than 2 weeks after the incident.
I came out doing this, so I ran across the corner, and then I just got shot. And then I ran to my mom, and then so I was bleeding from my mouth. Then my mama, she was applying pressure to my chest.
Aderrien said he came out, raised his hands. He recognized you. Did you know this little boy leading up to the situation, or had you ever met him?
I met him before. There's two sides to every coin, two sides to every situation. And of course they're saying that, but I can tell you that's just not the way it happened.
No justice, no peace.
Officer Capers was suspended without pay and remains under administrative non-paid leave. And just days ago, a Mississippi grand jury determined he won't face any criminal charges. Aderrien's mom says she's fighting to prevent Sergeant Capers from returning to active duty. I asked him several times to describe what he believes happened the day of the shooting, but he declined to answer on advice from his attorney, citing pending lawsuits.
So you think you did nothing wrong?
I hated that it happened. Definitely wasn't intentional. I hate that it happened. I've shed many tears, done everything I can to get this situation off of me.
Aderrien's mom has filed a $5 million federal lawsuit against Capers and the city of Indianola for her son's injuries and for what she says was a failing to properly train Capers.
Can you talk about your training?
Real good training, same training as law enforcement in California, Georgia, wherever. It's certified training. I'm a certified law enforcement officer. I took pride in what I did. I was good at what I did. I'm a public servant at heart. I always will be, regardless of how this turned out with Indianola Police Department.
Murray family attorney Carlos Moore says Sergeant Capers' actions were a clear use of excessive force.
But you do understand the outrage.
Absolutely.
That comes with this situation. This
Absolutely.
incident.
I'm not blaming anyone for the way that they feel. I have no issue with that. Because if it was me in that predicament, I'd probably feel the same way. But I would hope that if it was to happen to me, God forbid, I would let the process take place instead of just jumping ship or passing judgment before, it should be rendered.
When we spoke in May, Aderrien told me that up until this incident, he wanted to be a cop.
You wanted to be a cop?
Yes.
You still want to be a police officer?
No.
Why?
Because I got shot. I do want to be a doctor now.
When I talked to him, he said he wanted to be a police officer before this incident. He changed his mind after that day. Your thoughts, your words to him.
I hate that that's his mindset right now. I can't say that I blame him, but nevertheless, even though he's such a young child, who knows what the future may hold. It may change his mind. Maybe once this all ends, totally ends, maybe he'll see law enforcement in a different light.
And by the way, Eva, Sergeant Capers also told me that he and his family have been receiving death threats, and that despite the judge's decision preventing the release of body camera footage of the incident, Aderrien's mom is still demanding that it be made public. We're also told that sometime this week, the Indianola Board of Aldermen and the mayor will hold a special meeting determining whether or not Sergeant Capers can return to active duty with pay. But he wanted to get his side out, his side of the story.
And this story is not over yet.
Oh, far from over. Far from over.
Good reporting there.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.